Because we have to cook it, huh? Who's the writer? To pick it. Pick some nice large leaves.
On the third week of the project, we were told that we'd be making lunch. We were required to gather edible plants to make into our meal. First, we picked wild mustard greens from the nearby woods. Mustard greens are an invasive species. They also make a tasty meal. Next, we picked asparagus from the garden. After that, we picked walking onions from the same garden. Then we went on to pick red onions. Melissa officinalis, or lemon balm, was the plant we examined. It has a very sweet lemony smell. Arugula flowers were the following tasty plant we picked. It has a distinct nutty taste and it goes great with salad. Red Russian kale was the next plant we picked. The parts of a plant that aren't edible were used for the compost. Next were the broccoli leaves, which are considered a delicacy. And after the broccoli, we picked sage. It has a nice spicy smell and makes great tea. Borage was the following flower we tasted. It has a pleasant sweet taste. And after the borage, we sampled mint, oregano, and chocolate mint. Next, we took the mustard greens we had picked earlier and picked the leaves from the stem. We did this so we could cook them and the other ingredients over a small open fire we started outside. Next, we went on and picked Japanese knotweed, which, like mustard green, is an invasive species of plant that must be dealt with quickly. After peeling and peeling many vegetables, we placed them into a basket to be made into a cooked salad later. After that, we got a pan and began placing the vegetables into it over the fire. We cooked onions and peppers along with the knotweed and mustard greens. With the mortar and pestle, we crushed lemon balm in order to make a sweet, spicy tea called yard tea. The tea is made of rose water, pomegranate, orange slices, lemon balm, and mint that are vigorously shaken to mix the ingredients. After the meal was complete, we had a hearty, healthy lunch of blue potatoes, cooked asparagus, Italian bread, and the mixed greens, onions, and peppers. The meal was delicious and it was fun to make. We took all the non-edible food scraps so we could add them to the compost. And once the compost becomes nutrient-rich soil, we will grow plants in it to produce healthy, delicious food, thus continuing the composting cycle.
Alright, so you gotta figure out what kind of budget you want to get paid next year to do something like this. So I brought those forms over here too.
How much you getting
How
paid
much you want to get paid for like a salary to do this for like a whole year? A couple of days a week, maybe 2-3 days a week.
What I'm going to be teaching and talking about, and you guys are going to be helping with and learning about, is compost. And not only how do we make compost and, you know, why we make compost, but then maybe starting to think a little bit creatively about what we can do with it. But before we get too much into that, I'm actually, oh, and here's RC.
And to make this compost is about being a soil farmer, you know, because if you don't know anything about soil, and you're not going to have any plants, so any vegetables or fruits. So everything starts with the soil and with the microorganisms, with the nutrients. Because a lot of food that you eat today, the fruits and vegetables at the store, it's empty of nutrients at all. You know, you're not getting any vitality at all. You eat it, you're more tired. When you eat something and then you feel tired, that food is empty. You know, it's making you sluggish. If you eat something and you feel vitality in you, you know, it's giving you energy, make you want to get up and go and do things that you have to get done, you know. And so that's when you know that your food is empty, you know, even if it's cooked or uncooked. You know, I'd rather have uncooked.
With their food, you want a balance of different things, you know. If they have, and that balance is going to be a balance of things that have a lot of carbon in them. Things like leaves, things like straw, things like wood chips, things like newspaper, and they also need to balance that. They need things that have a lot of nutrients in them, things like manure or, you know, fresh green clippings of stuff, or food waste, food scraps. So they need a balance of those in their food. What was the next one that we said that they need to live? Water, right? Somebody said water.
Yeah, I do.
So we want to make sure that the pile is moist, but not moist but not dripping wet. You know, if you have a pile of stuff and it's all dry, those microorganisms can't live. They can't. You know, they need water to live. If your pile isn't moist, there's none of those biologic reactions happening. There's no organisms eating stuff. You know, you can have a giant pile of leaves, you know, bone dry, and it'll shrink over size, and people will be like, "Oh my gosh, you know, my compost pile is working." Like, no, there's nothing happening there. That dry pile is actually just oxidizing. Oxygen from the air is coming down and bonding with carbon in the pile, and you're actually just creating carbon dioxide, and it's getting smaller and smaller. It's literally molecule by molecule, it oxidizes with the air. So you need moisture. So we're ready for the first step, and that's, we're gonna build our compost pile on this pallet. If we'd taken more time, you know, you can make these really beautiful, but you know, you can have a pallet on the bottom and say like 3 on the side, so you have like a nice box.
Okay.
So you know, you can build them up as a box. You can, you know, make them look real pretty. But we're gonna start with putting some straw in the bottom of the pile. Everybody grab some. And we're just gonna.
Oh, this zoo looks fun, bro.
You're not dressed for this.
Do that.
I don't.
Put on some more straw. Big animal manure thing.
Poop.
Alright, make space. After all that we've talked about, why do you think it's best that we, instead of just doing one big pile of one thing and then the other, we're going to be doing lots and lots of little layers. And let's actually even grab that pile and sort of work it. So this is good. Let's put on another layer of straw. So everybody grab some straw. Let's get a layer of straw on there. Another shovel. Do we have any more shovels?
One hand.
There's one in the you think goes through your cafeteria every day. Oh, nice. We got some grass clippings. We'll just keep on adding a little bit as we go.
That is a whole apple.
That's a whole apple. Actually, you can smash that with your
I want to do it.
Yeah.
Put it on the grass. I want to smash it.
Alright, give it a good whack. Break it up.
completely just undermined what I did.
We did leaves, we did food waste. Let's do a little bit of straw. And then we'll put on a little bit more manure. Alright.
I guess it's just constellation. Layer of carbon, layer of nutrients.
And that's the guy who's eating healthy. Look at that. This guy, he's gonna outlive all of us.
What is? A lot of times you got little bugs and stuff. You can do in the house.
Spread out.
You got we put in the freezer. Bugs.
Pick up the pace. Let's go, let's go. I want to see that stuff flying in. Flying. The soil as they've been growing.
Yeah.
That looks pretty.
And you guys,
That's pretty.
Oh, there's some.
Okay.
There's an apple if anyone wants to smash
Let's
it.
spread this out.
Where?
Right there.
Wait, Summer.
Oh,
She called the next
heating it up, and it'll be coming out the other end as 160-degree water. Now imagine, you have water boilers, and think that's more efficiently done with fossil fuels. It's done with natural gas.